Today we are here for the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix and it is going to be a dry race, so we need not worry about any wet weather setups. So this is the Q1 session and we'll be going for some aggressiveness in our setup so that we can get the much needed straight line speed. And as you can see in our first banker lap, it was a decent lap and we just go and cross the line and go into P16. So I thought that there was more time on the table, and since we were also dropped to P19, so again I went for another push lap and this time we just crossed the line and go P12. So that was enough for us, and still we dropped some places, but we finished in P15 and that was enough for us to go into Q2 session, and our teammate is in P10. So definitely a good improvement in our Q1 sessions, and hopefully we'll be able to continue those improvements in the Q2 session as well. As in our first push lap in the Q2 session, you can see we go P13. So I thought there was much of time to improve, but you can see here we get a DRS failure. So we were almost 5 tenths up on our previous lap, and you can see we just cannot open the DRS in the last straight. So this was not very fortunate thing for us, as still we just couldn't improve much and go P12. So I would say a mechanical issue for us did definitely hamper our progress, and we were at least 4 tenths short of the P10 position. So definitely an unfortunate event, and hopefully in the sprint race we'll be able to gain some more positions, and it'll be gonna be a dry race, so we need not worry about any wet weather setups, and we'll do some adaptation of the components because the regulation changes have been kicking in the next season. And for that reason we are just trying to adapt as many components as we can through the R&D points, and it will be a medium strategy in the sprint race, as Lando Norris, Sainz and Leclerc in the top 3 of the grid, and it is 5 red lights, and away we go for the sprint race of this Brazilian Grand Prix. And it was a very wonderful start because we get a lot of wheel spin and we lose 4 positions, but we make a move down the inside at this turn 1 on this left-hander, and we make the most stick, and we again gain P13 position. So definitely by the time we entered the turn 2 we just lost 1 position. So now we have to just improve our pace and use the best of our setup so that we can gain some more positions in this Brazilian sprint race. And some of the cars are braking too early, and since we are playing with the simulation damage, so any slight bit of contact with the wing will definitely result in a broken wing, which is just not ideal for this sprint race, because obviously in the sprint race it is all about maximizing the potential of the car every lap. So we should avoid making some collisions with the other teams, and that is the reason why I am just being too cautious in the Brazilian sprint race as we get a virtual safety car. So I think some incident has happened in the back of the field, and it has led to some debris which has led to this virtual safety car, and hopefully this will not last for more laps, as by the time we were at the start finish straight the virtual safety car ended. And now again we are just pushing too hard because it is lap 3 and we are at P11 position, so we have to make some moves as Sergio Perez is in front of us. So it will be a tough task to overtake Perez because definitely he is in a much superior car, and we are still at the mid table of the R&D chart. So definitely we will have our task cut out, and I don't know why the team is suggesting some change strategy. I want to just stick to the medium tires. Yeah, so anyway, Carlos Sainz is setting the new fastest lap. So the Ferrari is looking decent in this Brazilian weekend, and I think they will be up for it. And since they lost the Drivers' Championship to Max Verstappen, who was crowned the Drivers' Champion in the previous Grand Prix, so after 2 consecutive seasons of Ferrari's dominance, this time Red Bull have taken the lead, and Max Verstappen has won the Drivers' Championship in our My Team career season. And you can see here we were still very close to Perez at the diffuser, but still we were just not able to get the traction in the sector 2, and that is the reason why we are just not able to overtake Perez. And you can see lap after lap we were just right at the diffuser of Perez, and it was becoming a tough task to just overtake Perez, and I was just trying to be as patient as possible because I did not want to lose my front wing by just making a stupid or careless move, and I have to just play the long game. But still you can see here in the sprint race it is not very long, as our teammate is now pressurizing us going down the inside at this, I don't know, sector 1 ending, and we just managed to just hold on to our position at the outside of this, but our teammate is still trying to just send one down the inside at this turn 2, but our teammate is just going side by side at this straight, and we are just able to maintain our position, and we just give him a bit of squeeze at the exit of this turn because obviously I do not want to make any collisions, and that was my intent, to show him that please do not just overtake around the outside because it may just hamper our chances of starting too early in the sprint race, as we tried to make a move down the inside at this turn, but we couldn't, as this inside turned into outside, but still we were not having the much superior grip on the outside of this track, and that is the reason why we just couldn't make it the move stick. As here at the lap 11 you can see as we make a move down instead of Lance Stroll, who just left enough of space for us, and it was a clean move. There was no contact involved. And at the next lap, you can see Alonso is now behind us and he's weaving all around the straight. So definitely he's trying to make a move, and I just let him go because I do not want to make a collision and create an issue, because obviously if something happens then our team will lose positions in the weekend race. So that is the reason why I just left Alonso go, because anyhow we are not going to get any points of P11 and P10 position. So we finished in P10 and we just gained one position in the sprint race, and our teammate Alonso also has a decent race as Esteban Ocon gets a driver of the day at the sprint race at the Brazilian weekend. So let's see, as Lando Norris won the sprint race and Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc at their podium places. As now it is the weekend Grand Prix, and we will be going for this medium to hard strategy, and we will be minimizing the fuel as Lando Norris, Sainz and Leclerc are in the top 3 of the grid. So we are at P11 and our teammate is in P10, so now we have to make the moves, and it is fire red lights, and now we go for the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix weekend, and it is the feature race. So we are just having to play the long game here at this feature race, and you can see here it was quite a calamity at the turn 1 because everyone is just trying to make a move around the outside, and we were just boxed in because we had a curb on the right side and too many cars on the left side. So we have to just play the patient game, and we have to just control our car and not make any mistakes and lose our front wing in the first lap itself. And here you can see we can just trying to move down the outside at this second sector, and we almost collided with the back of Lance Stroll. So that was not quite ideal, and hopefully it did not give us much of a damage, but still you never know because there's simulation damage and there may be slight bit of damage which may occur into your car. So that is the reason why you have to be patient and careful here at the Brazilian Grand Prix, because the track is short and it is quite difficult thing to go too wide at this track. So now we were trying to make a move around the outside of Sergio Perez, but still he just wanted to poke his nose in the inside of this turn. So we left him enough of space, otherwise it would have been a calamity clash. And I let him go through because obviously I do not want any incidents in the initial part of this Grand Prix, and we get a slight bit of damage. So I think the collision with the McLaren guy Stroll definitely gave us some damage, and it was quite a bit of sketchy thing because obviously it is not what needed, because still we have at least 5-6 of the race to go. And you can see Sergio Perez was just pulling away because he's on the soft tires and they definitely have a superior grip, as Lance Stroll again tries to go around the outside at this sector 2, and we just managed to hold on to our inside position, and Lance Stroll was just becoming too hesitant, and there was a bit of balance issue from his car because he was just sliding. So we have to just be watch out for this McLaren guy, otherwise it may result into some racing incidents which we do not want. So right now we are at P12 position and still we have a long way to go, and we can definitely gain some positions and hopefully get into the points, other than the Mexican Grand Prix weekend where the car just went horrible at the final laps of the Grand Prix. Obviously we do not want such incidents here. So in the lap 9 again you can see this turn we are just creating too much closure to the car in front, but still we are just not able to make the most of it because they are obviously having some superior straight line speed and the grip also. And definitely in the upcoming season we will be definitely trying to improve our car and making the most of it. So we go down instead of Lance Stroll, and yeah, it was a P9 position, but you know what happens. Lance Stroll is in the McLaren and his superior straight line speed, so he's trying to make a move down the inside at this turn, but we just cover off the apex and we at least were able to just control our car, otherwise it would have definitely been a Spinella. So we have to just play our games, and since our car is just not quite able to match the performance of the McLaren, so definitely we have to be quite aggressive and at the same time be careful so as not to lose our front wing. So you can see here again that Lance Stroll went ahead of us, and definitely he is just proving to be quite a handful in this race because he's just trying to claim on to the P8 position, but we are also having to defend quite a lot. And I was thinking that maybe I should box at the end of lap 14 because obviously I want to do some undercut and there is quite a bit of traffic in front of us, so definitely that is not quite ideal for us too. So that is why I just went for an undercut and going for the hard tires, and hopefully at least we'll be able to maneuver through the traffic well. And I also do some wing changes because there was a bit of understeer because of the incident at the lap 4. So I just went for a wing change, and hopefully this will give us some much needed pace at the corners of this Brazilian Grand Prix. So you can see here some more cars and in the pits at the start of lap 17, and we are just trying to undercut as many cars as possible. So let's see what we can achieve from this position, as we are currently at P15, so we can definitely gain at least more 5 or 6 positions if we just play the game beautifully and are able to just improve our car, as our teammate goes into the pits at the end of lap 16. So definitely he's having some good pace, and he will be trying to just come back again at us at the end of this Grand Prix. So here at lap 19 you can see there are plenty of cars in the pits, and we will have to just maneuver our car and gain the much needed track positions. Currently we are at P12 position, so if we can gain into the points, and you can see here Verstappen goes for Spinella, but we just couldn't capture the moment. But I think something happened with the Red Bull guy, so he just did a Spinella, I think. So now here at the lap 25, we are just behind our teammate Fernando Alonso. So now we are just trying to utilize the slipstream ERS and DRS, but the slipstream is not as powerful. So now it is all about maximizing the full potential of our car, as we were just trying to move it down the inside of this turn one, and we made the move stick. So Alonso left off enough of space for us to make the move, and now we are just behind George Russell, who is just in front of us, but Alonso again just overtakes us at the straight. So definitely Alonso is not going to give up without a fight, and we'll have to be careful of this Spanish guy, because obviously he's our teammate, and it is one of the way of showing that he is just eager to be in this team, because obviously this is his penultimate race, and I don't know what his future is in the next race, whether he'll be retiring or in the next season we'll be looking for some new teammate. So for now I think Alonso is a decent teammate, because obviously he has helped in gaining us so many R&D points, and that is the reason why we are able to just update our car and move up the R&D hierarchy. So now you can see here we are just going around the outside of George Russell, which turns into this inside, and we make the move stick. So Russell has played some decent game. He left enough space for us, and we made the move stick. So it was a fair overtake, no damage done, no collisions, nothing. So clean racing and hard racing. But again, Russell just overtakes us at the turn one, and he just locks up a bit, which just enables us to make the move. And but still, the Mercedes is a superior car, and they are in the top 3 or 4 of the R&D chart. So definitely, he has some damage, because I think he just had a collision with someone, or maybe he's just going for some soft tires, as our teammate now sets a fastest lap. So I think the fastest lap point will be stolen by our teammate, and there is a safety car. So let's see what happened, as one Alpine just spun across and Charles Leclerc just hit him and lost his front wing. This is classic case of Ferrari, because some other guys make some mistake and Ferrari suffers. So very unfortunate for Charles Leclerc, as we thought of going into the pits, but again there were too few laps to just go for soft test and claim on to the positions back, because already we are at P9, and definitely we do not have the pace to again go through the field and gain back those positions. So again we just start the lap at the lap 35. So definitely we have just one lap after this to make a move, as we make a move down instead of Ocon and make the move stick. So I don't know whether Alpine will again fight back for this move or not, but still we are using plenty of ERS, and definitely at the end of the lap 35 you can see Ocon just again made a move around the outside. So I just make a move down the inside at this turn one and made the move stick. So definitely we have to be just aggressive and make the moves, otherwise we will be missing some key positions, as Carlos Sainz wins here at the feature race of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we finish in P8. So remarkable recovery drive, I would say, because after we had some collisions and the wing changes, but still we finished in the point. So I was quite satisfied with this race, and hopefully we'll be able to continue these type of races in the upcoming seasons and next Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, as our teammate got a bit of damage and he finished in P18, as we are at P10 in the Drivers' Championship, and in the Constructors we are at P6. So a good improvement since the start of the season, and hopefully in the next season also we'll be able to improve our car, as we get around $500,000 for our efforts which we put on in this team. And let's see what we can achieve in the next race, which at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So this was about the Brazilian Grand Prix, and if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and do subscribe and hit this channel for daily F1 22 content. And we'll meet you again at the next Grand Prix, which will be at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So till then, peace.